go. 3-minute drive time. Court Kohler Law Offices, Salt Lake County Criminal Defense. Coming to you today, we're going to talk about spousal immunity, also known as spousal privilege, marital privilege, really all the same, different terms for the same thing. What is it? Why is it? And how does it affect your case? Okay, so let's start with what is it? Spousal immunity means that if an individual is married to another person, they cannot be compelled to testify against that person. So it's something, for example, if a wife is accused of a crime and let's say the prosecutor subpoenas the husband, he can assert spousal privilege and he will not be required to testify against her. Why is that is kind of a weird thing. And I won't spend a lot of time on it, but basically, like a lot of things in our legal system, it comes from old school English common law. And back in those days, they kind of looked at a husband and a wife as one person for legal purposes, one individual, one entity. And that's definitely an old school way of looking at it. That's not how we see things now, but that's where it began. And we inherited that. And I think today the reasoning that underpins spousal privilege is more along the lines of, fostering marital harmony, allowing for open communication between two spouses. For instance, you don't want one spouse to not be able to tell another spouse something that they may need to know that's important because that spouse is afraid that, it could be that they could be called to testify against them or something like that. In practicality, how does it help you? What happens here? Now it's an evidentiary rule, so it could be used for lots of different things, and there's weird cases where it could come into play. But for practicality and for criminal defense and for what you're probably watching this video for, what it has to do with is domestic violence cases, domestic violence assault, criminal mischief, domestic violence in the presence of a child, disorderly conduct with the domestic violence tag, things like that, where you've got a spouse that is a witness and they saw it happen, or they saw, they reported it or whatever happened. When the prosecutor calls them to testify, they can be subpoenaed and they would have to show up and all that kind of stuff. But when they got onto the stand, they could then assert their spousal immunity and they would not have to testify from that point forward. What usually happens is, the prosecutor would talk to that witness beforehand and they would talk to them about spousal immunity, and if they're going to assert their privilege, then the prosecutor will generally not subpoena them and make them come to court and things like that. It's kind of unnecessary and sort of just kind of a mean thing to do, I suppose, if somebody's going to assert the privilege. But that's up to the prosecutor and how they handle it. In practicality, what it means is if a spouse in this kind of a case is going to assert spousal privilege, a lot of times that's it. Case closed, they're done. Because a lot of times, just the way that these things work out is the spouse is the only one that has firsthand knowledge of what happened, the only one that's going to be called to testify that can say, I witnessed this happen, or, they did this or that. So if, in an assault case, for instance, the spouse is going to assert their privilege, a lot of times it means the case is going to get dismissed because the prosecutor isn't going to be able to have any other kind of evidence that they can give. Now, there are cases where they can get around it. It's kind of rare, but, where there's a confession or some other witness to the act or something like that, maybe it doesn't mean a dismissal 100% of the time. But in practicality, it's a big piece of the case, and generally speaking, case isn't going to be able to go forward if one of the spouses is asserting privilege and they're really the only one that has information about what happened. So that's how it affects your assault, domestic violence charge, or domestic violence related charges. If you have one of those cases or another kind of a case that you're facing or that you have questions about, please give us a call. or just go to our website, www.kohlerlawoffices.com. There's a link there where you can schedule a phone consultation or an in-person consultation, whatever you prefer. You can schedule it right there online. It takes 15 seconds. You don't have to talk to us on the phone. If you want to talk to us on the phone, we'd love to talk to you. That's fine. Give us a call and we'll set you up that way. Whatever works best for you, okay? So, hey, this is me signing off. Kohler Law Offices, Salt Lake County Criminal Defense. Give us a call if you need some help. Thank you.